Hi, Trisha Barreto here with the Missing Person Search podcast. So I want to do another update because Melonie Ballenger was found, and I did a quick update. I didn't, my dog was like going crazy. But I pulled up the map right now of her area and the area she was found in Wiley, Texas. And I wanted to see what spirit gave me that I was able to pick up that are big indicators of where she was found. So in the last video, I briefly touched on she was found off of Murphy Road. So Murphy Road, she was found about a block over, a little bit more than a block over from Murphy Road. And it looks like Murphy's like a whole neighborhood. So there's a Murphy Middle School. But yeah, she was found a block east of Murphy Road. Okay, so that's one of the things I got. Now, there were several things here. I mean, a lot of times when I work on these cases, there's several things, but I believe she was moving around, so I was getting, like, all the areas she was walking by. So I pull up the map right now, and I notice, I kind of wish I was screen recording this. I noticed that a little bit south of her, where she was found, there's a park called Sage Creek Park. And I noticed that there was a photo, there's also photos that people upload, but there was a photo with a sign of a kid holding a painted rock, and the sign said something about leave your painted rock here. And if you notice, I have painted rocks right here on the list. So we're 2 for 2, right? There's more rocks, river rocks. And if you pull up the map of the area, Tyler Trail and Abbey Lane, where she was found at, you will find that there are several things that in my findings this afternoon before she was located that can go back to that area. Like the painted rocks, who would have known? That's such a small thing. If I didn't pull up the map and I didn't have time to do my mapping because thankfully she was found, but I'm sure I would have come across that. I probably would have Googled something like painted rocks, Wiley, Texas, and that might have came up. Yeah, there's a lot of other things you can look and you'll see how I got there, how I got these. And this is using my clair senses. So I just really want people to understand that what I do to help locate missing people using my psychic medium abilities is real, it's valid, and it's helpful. And I don't think a lot of people understand to the extent how helpful it could be, maybe because their own limitations, their own beliefs, their own ignorance. But I think it's tremendously helpful. And like I said in the last video, this was one of the cases where I'm going to scroll through here for those that kind of want to look. And if you want to pull out a map and you're so inclined to see like what else I got that matches the area where she was found. But again, I feel like she was moving around, and I noticed like when I got down, see, the further down I got, those are the closer areas where things she was found. So like Murphy was like one of the last 3 findings I had, right? And so she was found shortly. I think after I released the video this afternoon, maybe within 2 hours of releasing the video, she was found. A lot of times my videos are being sent to law enforcement, and I'm told by family and loved ones that they've been shared with law enforcement and private investigators. So I don't know, particularly in this case, if my findings were shared with them or not. But, I'm going to get credit because I did this with Spirit. I did this. I'm able to do this. And I don't appreciate the comments, the hate, the gatekeepers on the internet, because I am here to help. I have a gift. I have a specialized set of abilities and skills that most people don't have and most people don't understand. Even other psychic mediums that don't do this work and don't want to do this work Because there's a lot of psychic mediums that, they embrace their abilities and they use them, but this is not the kind of work they want to do, which is understandable. I mean, I don't make a penny off of this right now, unless it's a private reading through my website. For a missing person. But this is really a labor of love, and it is a listener-supported podcast, a listener-supported endeavor. So however you can support me doing this work, whether that means, subscribing on Patreon, where Missing Person Search Podcast is hosted at, subscribing, liking, leaving positive comments. The most important thing you can do is sharing my findings with the people that are searching, whether it's law enforcement, private investigators, the families, the loved ones of the missing people, because you never know what little detail, like a painted rock or like a word like Murphy, if that's a neighborhood, if that's a street, if that's a business, where that person is located at. So, it's just a matter. And for those of you, I teach what I do. Everything that I do, I teach. And so if you're somebody that's learning how to use your abilities, your psychic abilities, your medium abilities to try to solve crimes and get information about crimes and locating missing people, you really have to learn to trust what you get. And so that's why I have a process the way that I work. The first step is always to check in with spirit and use all my clairsenses, what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing, what I know, what I'm hearing, what I smell, what I taste, like every clairsense that I have, and trusting what I'm getting through those clairsenses and writing them down. That's the first part of my process. The second part of the process is pulling out maps of the areas, because I'm not familiar with any of these areas where these people are from. So I pull out the maps and I start trying to figure out, okay, like for instance, the painted rock. I could have, if I got to that point where I was doing my mapping, I could have Googled painted rocks, Wiley, Texas, and maybe, just maybe, that park where they do the painted rocks would have come up. Same thing for Murphy. I could have typed in, and that's what I would have done. But luckily, she was found before I had the chance to do that. I would have typed in Wiley, Texas, Murphy, and then I would have learned, okay, there's a road called Murphy Road. There's a neighborhood that's known as like the Murphy neighborhood, and there's an elementary school or middle school, or whatever school that was. And so on and so forth. And so that's the second step, is the mapping. And that's not just like logistics and trying to understand an area. That's also using my intuition, my abilities, my communication with spirit. So when I'm looking at the maps and I have my list of findings, okay, spirit, where does this go? And where does this go? And where does this go? And how to place it and get the best insight, because, when we're looking at locating a missing person, there's not room for error. We're looking for a precise location. And that's really challenging as a psychic medium. I think like the most we can hope for is getting within a vicinity, within a small area, small perimeter, and then that small perimeter being searched. I had also pulled cards, and I knew that there was a fire station nearby. But usually cards, I kind of went out of order. Sometimes I do that, but usually cards are something I do at the very end. I do my findings with my clairsenses, then the mapping, then divination tools such as oracle cards. I have specific cards with like location insight on them that I use, and sometimes I'll use other decks as well. But the most important thing that I could tell anybody that is trying to learn how to use their abilities to do this is, and this is something that I offer a course for. I currently have a wait list for law enforcement, private investigators, true crime enthusiasts, search and recovery teams, to teach them how to do it as well. Because it's really something that we all have these abilities, right? We all have psychic medium abilities, but you have to be open to them, and you have to understand how they work, how to use them. So I think like somebody that works in law enforcement or a private investigator or search and recovery teams could really benefit from learning how to use their intuition and their own abilities to get more insight to help them in their search to locate a missing person. Absolutely, 100%. Because look, if I'm coming up with like a street down the road from where she was found from, the painted rocks a little bit south from where she was found from, and a bunch of other stuff on this list in the area she was found from, that just tells you, okay, if you need to look for a missing person, you can come up with this stuff too. Now, I will say I've been doing this for more than 5 years, almost 6 years now. Mostly privately, I've been working on it. It's just recently that I started to offer this publicly and created Missing Person Search podcast. I've just always felt really called to help locate missing people. My podcast is not about the storyline. It's not about saying, hey, this person is alive or this person has passed. It's about solely focusing on locating them, whether they're living or not. It's about locating that body. And that's my sole focus. So when I'm communicating with spirit, that's what I'm asking them. That's the one question I'm asking, like today and yesterday. Where is Melonie Ballenger? Where is Melonie Ballenger? And this was all these words and all these things and all this stuff that came up. This was Spirit's answer to me, to help me locate her, to give the information to the people that are on the ground searching to locate her. So it's valid and it's legit. And I'm not going to sit here and downplay my abilities and my gifts. I'm skilled. I'm professional. I work really hard at this. And I would appreciate all the support that you can give, because you're not only supporting me, you're supporting these people that go missing and their loved ones. And again, I think today it was such a great, it was a miracle in my eyes, because like I said, a lot of these cases, they don't end well. A lot of these cases, unfortunately, end up where the person has been murdered and, the body's been hidden, and I'm trying to find a hidden body. And, if you're curious about that, you can go back and look at the other cases that I have on Missing Person Search podcast, and you can see what I'm talking about. You can listen to it and you can watch my findings, and you can see the things that happen that are so, when people are like dismembering a body, and then the body's not in just one place, it's in several places. And so I'm getting insight for several places, and I have to discern what's really going on. So it's a lot, and it's just a specialized skill set that most people really don't understand, but it's not as complicated as people may think. That's why I'm really breaking it down here to show you, okay, these are all the things that I got. And a lot of these things go back to the area she was found in, and probably the area she was moving in and walking in. But those like painted rocks, like if you go and you'll see what I mean, it's a park where they paint rocks and there's a sign talking about it. And the Murphy Road, you'll see, you just go and you'll see on the map, like it's right there. It's right there. So, yeah, don't hate on psychic mediums, especially psychic mediums that are using their abilities for the greater good, and give them the support they need. Give my podcast the support it needs so the information can get into the hands of the right people, so I can continue to have the time to invest in working on this podcast, because it does take a lot of time to work on these cases. Some of these cases, they keep me up. I don't sleep because I'm so involved. And sometimes when the person is in spirit, I'm communicating directly with them, and they're basically trying to help me solve their own murder and locate their own body. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but as directly as that, because that's the truth. So yeah, if you're somebody that's come across my work, I feel like if you've come across my work, there's a reason. I don't just believe, I don't believe in coincidences. Sure, there's an algorithm, but maybe you're meant to learn something. Maybe you're meant to do something similar. Maybe you're meant to pass on the information or the insight somewhere else where the people that are searching are going to be able to find it. I just appreciate all the support that you can give to the podcast and the work that I do, and the love that you can send, because I get the dumbest comments, and I don't put up with bullshit from anybody. And I think as a psychic medium, you have to have a really thick skin, because people are really hateful and ignorant. but I mean, Spirit knows my heart. And if you follow my work, I think you can see how dedicated I am to helping locate these missing people, because the love and the care I have. And, I can't fix the world. There's some really horrible things happening to people out there. And I wish that it wasn't this way. But the one thing I can do is I can use my abilities for a higher and greater good. And I strive to do that. I strive to do that in helping to locate missing people. I strive to do that in the private readings I do, whether it's communicating with someone's loved one that's in spirit, their pets, that are living or in spirit. Maybe it's a psychic reading to give them insight about their lives. Like, everything I do is for the highest and greatest good of every person and animal I come in contact with. That's why I'm here. I'm a guide. So I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, just support, send love. Missing Person Search podcast is over on Patreon. There's free memberships and there's one paid membership, and that just really supports me to continue to do this. It's like $10 a month, and you can cancel at any time, and it gives you all episodes ad free. It gives you all update videos. It gives you access to a private community for the search party. I have a YouTube. Some of the Missing Person Search podcast videos go up. The first one is going to go up on my YouTube, but the updates, no, they're going to be on Patreon. And then YouTube puts ads on everything too, so there's that. Sometimes I'll put other content on my YouTube channel. You can find all the links. You can find my website where I offer private readings, where I offer teaching and mentoring. Everything I offer is in the links. And I hope that you found this insightful. I hope that you found it helpful. If you know somebody in law enforcement, private investigators, search and recovery people, maybe you want to forward this to them just so they can kind of have an understanding if this is something they're open to that can enhance their work, that can help them in their work. I think it's definitely worth sharing. The course that I have, Psychic Detective course, there's a wait list, but that's available on my website, and that's exactly who it's for: the law enforcement, the private investigators, the search and recovery people. Because just with a little bit of knowing how to use these abilities, it can really help them. I mean, they already have their own training and their own skill set, but just having some of this can really, combined with what they already know, I mean, I just feel like they're going to be able to help so many more people, solve cases faster, locate missing people faster. And that's what we want. That's what we hope for when we work on these cases, is to find the people as quickly as possible. And, bring in justice if that needs to happen, because like I said, with a lot of these cases, justice needs to happen. The last case that I worked on before Melonie is Suzanne Simpson, out of San Antonio. And, you can Google that or watch my videos with that. And, that's an example of a really hard case, and her body still hasn't been found, and I'm still looking, and I'm still kind of in the circle, just waiting, to see, if where I said she may be located, if she's going to be located there. But it's not as easy. It's not as easy as that. It's never as easy as that. Just like when you look at this list, before Melonie was found, who knew that she was down the street from Murphy? Who knew that she was up the road from where they have a park where they paint rocks? Who knew that? So it just takes time, it takes dedication, it takes curiosity, it takes an openness to spirit. It definitely takes time to learn and to hone these abilities. Like I said, I'm almost on 6 years of doing this, so it didn't just happen overnight. I had to come up with my own system, my own way of doing it, trial and error. Every time I work on a missing person case, it's an opportunity for me to learn and grow and get better, and also share that with those that are interested in learning as well. So there you have it. I don't think I'm going to put this up anywhere. This is just for TikTok because of all the comments, the dumb comments that I was getting. And just to kind of put you in your place, if you're going to leave me dumb comments, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing, I do good work, I believe in the work that I do, and I don't take all the credit. because I couldn't do this work without spirit. And a lot of the credit has to go to the people on the ground that are actually out there searching. But again, I really believe my work can help in these missing person cases when my work and my findings are put in the right hands of people that are open enough, investigators, law enforcement that are open enough to look at it. Unfortunately, a lot of times law enforcement, they don't take psychic mediums seriously or psychics seriously. And, that's just, I think it's doing a disservice because it can really help, especially somebody that's skilled and specifically skilled to work on missing person cases like me. So, yeah, I'm just so grateful. I wish Melonie Ballenger the best. I wish her all the healing. I think the circumstances why she was out there, she was under like some kind of distress. And I just wish her so much healing, mind, body, and spirit for her and her family. I'm so happy that she's still around and she's going to be able to be here for her children. And yeah, I think that's it. And you can kind of, if you want to look at my findings and screenshot, that's why I've been scrolling this whole time. So you can just look at them, screenshot them, share this video, share it with people that you feel can learn, that they can find this useful in their searching. And, we can always learn something from anybody. What's that saying? You can even learn something from a fool. You really can. But I'm not going to have anybody diminish me or my abilities as a psychic medium because I really think I'm great at what I do. And that's only because of the grace of God and spirit, the love that spirit has for all of us and how we really are one. And we need to give love to each other and help and support to each other more in this physical world. Spirit has it down pat. They get on the other side and they're just, all the people I deal with and animals I deal with on the other side, I feel like they're more evolved, they're more aware, they're more loving, they're more helpful. But on this side here in the physical world, a lot of us have not figured it out yet. And I think that we need to bring more love in the way that we treat each other and the way that we help each other, support each other. There's just not enough of that. I mean, in my work, I see it all the time. It's really hard work. That's why a lot of people don't do this work. That's why a lot of psychic mediums don't do this work, because it's really hard to see so much murder, so many homicides, so many mothers and wives being killed, children being killed. Like, it's hard. It's hard. I feel like spirit does a really good job of protecting me. But I don't talk a lot about the emotional side because I need to stay really objective when I do this work. I don't need to jump to conclusions. I don't need to get in my emotions or have an emotional reaction. I need to stay very level-headed, very connected to spirit as I work on these cases. So I kind of have to push my own personal feelings and my own opinions to the side and just focus on the work at hand. And that enables me to do really good work and bring the most clearest insight that I can for every reading, every case, everything that I do as a psychic medium. I bet there's stuff on here. I'm just looking. I'm thinking like she was probably wandering around passing like the roller skating rink and I don't know if she was near a Whataburger Cup. It was interesting because I did pull a spread of cards and I got a fire station and I got hungry, like the word hungry. And I remember looking at that last night and I was like praying that she wasn't somewhere starving and just thirsty and starving. And it sounds like that could have actually been what was happening. But yeah, just such a blessing. It's such a blessing to know that she's going to be home with her family now and she can work at healing and her family can help her and her daughters have her, especially working on the Suzanne Simpson case, coming off of that and then going straight to Melonie's case. And it was like, excuse my language, but finally somebody has a good outcome here. Finally, there's a positive outcome. Finally, there's a miracle. Yeah, and I think there was a lot of indication with water here because she was by water. I believe she was found near water. there was water to the right of where she was found, right there, like where she was at. But also, I think there's a lot of like multiple streams of water. I think I got something that on here that said third body of water. Yeah, third body of water, whatever that meant. But I haven't done all the mapping. I don't need to now that she's been found. But like I said, I believe that there's a lot more stuff other than the painted rocks and Murphy that indicate where the path that she may have traveled when she was out there walking around and where she landed, where she ended up. And thank God to like good Samaritans that are paying attention to their surroundings. It's very important to pay attention to your surroundings. You know, I think a lot of times we see people in distress and we don't want to help them or see if they're okay. But man, if you see something, say something. I think a lot of people are just so self-centered and so self-focused. And again, it goes back to what I said, help people, support people, love people. Of course, take care of yourself and be safe and smart in how you help others, but stop being so damn selfish. And I feel like I can say that because look at what I do with my days and my nights. You know, help where you can, make a difference where you can. If that means just saying a prayer for somebody, sending good energy to somebody, sharing important information on the internet. Thank God the internet is such a good resource to share information. You know, unfortunately on Facebook, I noticed that there's a lot of gatekeeping as a psychic medium and a lot of hate on Facebook. So I really can't like share too much on there. So you can share my findings. You can share them from here on TikTok, from my Patreon, from my YouTube, wherever they're at. They're always going to be on Patreon, all of them. But yeah, that's what you can do. So I think that's it. I think that's all I have. I'm not sure what case I'll be working on next. I do have Sebastian Rogers on my brain. He is a young, he's a minor. He's a young man. He has autism and he has been missing, I believe, for like 8 or 9 months now. And it's a case that I briefly looked at, but I feel really called to do. I don't like what I already know, what I already feel, but I'm going to focus on locating his body. As long as another case doesn't pop up in the next 48 hours, that's very urgent. I think I'm going to focus on Sebastian. Yeah, there's a couple of cases. There's also Ryan Larson, reminds me similar to Sebastian Rogers' case, very similar. There's a lot of problems that we have in our country with domestic violence, with, there's a word, I can't think of the word right now, but basically it's where children that have autism and disabilities, where they can be killed by their own caregivers. There's a word, it's like felicide, I can't think of the word right now, but these are the things that happen too often. And when I see mothers being, murdered and their bodies being hidden and kids being murdered by their caretakers and their bodies being hidden, boy, it does something. It puts a fire under my ass to get in the game here and help as much as I can. And so I would encourage you, if you're somebody that wants to help and you feel like you can't, do what you can where you're at with what you have. That's all you got to do. Like I said, if it's just sending positive energy, sharing important information on the internet or wherever, supporting the people that are out here, law enforcement is out there and, they're getting paid to do the job and they're getting credit. But somebody like me in the background, I'm doing the work. I don't get paid. And not only do I not get credit, but I get hate. And it's just not good. It's not what you want to do, especially when I'm somebody who's communicating with like some of these people in spirit that have been murdered. And now you're like getting in their way of them trying to solve their own murders and have their bodies found. And you're sending me hate on the videos with their insight. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, be nice, be kind. If you don't have anything kind or helpful to say, don't say anything at all, because I am not the one. I work too hard and I love too hard to be putting up with bullshit. Okay? Think before you speak. That's who I am. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not like, yeah, I'm a professional, but I don't owe anybody anything. What I do is a gift of love. And that's just it. If you want to support me, if you want to join me on this this wild experience, you are more than welcome to. If you are a kind, loving person, I encourage you to join me. If not, just like kick rocks and don't come at me crazy. Okay? Okay.